Hey, get that camera out of the way. I'm trying to rewatch the highlights here from week 3, and there's lots of them. If you're a Seahawk fan, if you know what I mean, if you're a Niner fan, you're probably not even watching this. Why would you? It's the Best Fans Video Podcast, all about you, the 12s, and our team, the Hawks. And oh, yeah, look at that Doug Baldwin catch. Dougie Baldwin, when he laid out for that catch, that Superman catch. That's ballin' right there, Doug Baldwin, man. Love that play. Lots of highlights to choose from. Can you move just a little bit that way? Because I want to... Oh, we got to still... The show's not over? Well, that's right. That was Larry Lomax with the feel-good story. Okay, all right. Oh, man. We all held our breath right here when Russell went down that knee. It didn't look good, but he should be suited up, ready to go for Week 4 against Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Jets. And here to break down that game... none other than the fisherman, Jeff Aaron. What do you got, Jeff?
Hey, Seahawks fans, there's something in the air tonight. I'm the Fish Jeff Aaron. Time now to preview the New York Jets. I like to give a little historical perspective on things, and then I'll tell you a little bit about this year's team here, all in just a few minutes. The New York Jets came into existence as the Jets in 1963. They have not had a lot of success. 369 wins, 436 losses, a losing franchise record, and they haven't been to a Super Bowl since Super Bowl III when Joe Namath guaranteed victory over the Baltimore Colts. And it's pretty bad when your franchise's best player is Joe Namath from 1969. Don Maynard was pretty good too. The Jets have 5 retired numbers. Can you guess who they are? Joe Namath, number 12. Don Maynard, number 13. Curtis, my favorite Martin, as Chris Berman would say. He was number 28. Joe Klecko, number 73 from the Sack Exchange. And number 90 for Dennis Byrd, a player who was injured and partially paralyzed in a football game. They retired his number for obvious reasons. No playoffs for the last 6 years for the New York Jets. They've played the Seahawks 18 times in franchise history. The Seahawks have won 10, the Jets only 8. The last time they played, 2012 here in Seattle, and the Seahawks crushed them 28-7. The last time the game was in New York, the Jets won 37-14 in 2004. But the most memorable game played by these two teams, probably in franchise history, we go back to 1998. Dennis Erickson is the head coach for the Seahawks. The Seahawks are fighting for a playoff berth in a rather mediocre AFC West division that year. It was a game late in the year, was played in December, and it was a shootout. And the Seahawks, led by Jon Kitna, put Kitna in, led 31-19 going into the fourth quarter. But Vinny Testaverde had led the Jets on a comeback, and the guy that I just mentioned, Curtis Martin, ran for a touchdown, closing the gap, and late in the game, the Jets were at the 5-yard line. Vinny Testaverde goes back to pass. Not the most mobile guy in the world, and he was about 38 years old at the time. He scrambled out of the pocket, was running towards the goal line, and dived. Did he score? Not really. Replay showed that his helmet was a foot short of the goal line right with the ball, but there was no replay then. It was ruled a touchdown, and it went into the books as a touchdown, and the Jets won the game 32-31. They went on to a 12-4 season. They made it to the AFC Championship game where they lost to Denver. That game was important for the Jets, but it was also important for the Seahawks because it pretty much cost Dennis Erickson his job. That Seahawks team finished 8-8, missed the playoff by 1 game, and a lot of people look to that Jets game as one that sticks in the craw of Seahawks fans over the years. So there you have it, a little bit of perspective on the New York Jets. This year's Jets, I thought they'd be better than this. They're 1-2. They lost a tough game to Cincinnati in the opener, 23-22. Bengals made a lot of field goals to pull that one out. They then beat Buffalo on a Thursday night game, which was an offensive explosion, 37-31. They looked pretty good in that game. But last week, boy, did they lay an egg. Losing to Kansas City 24-3, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, who held out all year as their new franchise quarterback, threw 6 interceptions. 6. Unbelievably bad day. So how would you like to have thrown 6 interceptions and now you get to face the Legion of Boom? So this is not a very good matchup for the Jets. The Seahawks have the obvious flaws of flying in a jet plane to the East Coast, but I think they're going to be okay. For the Jets, this is a brutal part of their schedule. They face Seattle this week. They're at Pittsburgh against the Steelers next week, at Arizona the following week. Then they play the Baltimore Ravens, who are undefeated 3-0 at the time of this recording. So the next 4 games are brutal for the Jets. They are led by head coach Todd Bowles, who I really like. He's a disciplinarian, tough defensive guy. And the Jets have a very formidable defensive line. Leonard Williams, Muhammad Wilkerson, and Sheldon Richardson. When they're playing and not suspended and healthy, they're a wrecking machine and maybe the best defensive line in football. Their offense is led by Ryan Fitzpatrick, coming off 6 interceptions. You know that his quarterback rating was lower than his interception total? That is a stat. He threw 6 interceptions. His QB rating was 5. That's as bad as it gets, my friends. 30-year-old running back Matt Forte, who had a huge game against the Buffalo Bills. Brandon Marshall never stops yapping on his Tuesday night television show, but he'll do a lot of talking, but I don't think he's going to get a lot of catches up against the Legion of Boom. Darrelle Revis is injured, but he's expected to be full go and play against the Seahawks this weekend. So we'll wonder if Darrelle Revis and Richard Sherman will cross paths at any time. Today's keyword of the day is Susudio. I'm Phil Collins, or Jeff Aaron, with your Seahawks enemy report on the New York Jets.